morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this world. My name's Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. No, it's not, I'm lying, it's the interview, baby. And today we have Alizon from Calva Louise on the show, and I'm so pumped because this band is sick. Are you excited? The show is sponsored by DistroKid. We're going to kick off with the track WTF What the Fuck by Calva Louise. Let's urge, baby.
What are you doing? Oh, God. You know.
Just organising the files that you asked me to do.
No, give me a... Just go.
Are you sure? Don't you need me?
I said go.
I was doing what you asked me to do.
I said go.
welcome to the show. What's going on, everybody? Hey, give that a round of applause. My name's Jade. You know who I am if you've been here on the channel. There's my name. Don't wear it out. It's Friday morning here in Australia, Thursday for the rest of you. Hope you've had a good week. We are really charged today, and Alizon is here from Calva Louise, one of my favourite bands. So let's kick off first, and let me tell you about our sponsor. We need to do this first so we can get straight down to it all. Today's show is, of course, sponsored by our good friends at DistroKid. DistroKid allow you to release your music to the world for the super ridiculous price of $24.99 annually if you use my code, which is in the description or sitting somewhere down up the top there on the screen. distrokid.com/VIP/Jade. So you'll get 7% off your first year. Yes, you will. And you are able to release unlimited songs, unlimited lyrics, Spotify checkmark, create royalty splits, do all that fancy stuff, and access to heaps of tools to promote your music. There's 3 tiers. Musicians Plus allows you to have 2 artists, or you could go for the ultimate plan, which is $89.99 a year. That's the one I use because I've got too many bands because I'm cuckoo, right? So DistroKid, they've been with me sponsoring this show for a damn long time, and I thank you for sponsoring the show, DistroKid. We'll hear more from DistroKid as the show progresses. Back on me for this because I've been waiting for this one for well over a month. So if you know the backstory, I started a show here on the channel called Unearthed, where I go out and I try and find music that's really, really cool because AI music seems to be everywhere. AI generative slop, and people are getting disheartened and they're like, hey man, where do I stand as a musician? And in my head, I was starting to fall for it as well, but it's not true, let me tell you, because if you actually start going out and looking for music, it's out there. It's just we've become a society who don't go and look for things anymore. We want it all to come to us. But trust me, when you go and look, you find bands like the band we have here today, and that is Calva Louise. I found Calva Louise on Facebook. It popped up as an ad, and I clicked and went, what the hell is this? And here we are today with one of my favorite bands. Look, goosebumps when I hear their music. So that's what you want from music. So we have Alizon here on the show, and I'm super excited. So without further ado, let's find out more about the band, more about Alizon and how they came into existence. So let's get all the buttons pressed and all the magic. We'll do the applause and bring on Alizon from Calva Louise. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hi, Jade. I have to say that's quite the incredible introduction.
Well, you're absolutely worth it. I mean it 100%. When I get excited when I find music that gets my heart beating, gets me excited again about music like I was a kid, like being experimental and trying new things, and to hear your music is like that because it's such a mishmash of different styles and such. So to kick off, my first question that I ask everybody, what does music mean to you?
Oof, that's quite a broad question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, personally, to me, it's just something that's always been central in my life. And, I couldn't imagine my life without it. It's what moves me and what I feel like I can express myself the best with, It must have different meaning for everybody, but for me, that's just like what's always like touched me the most in the whole world.
Absolutely, and I think it should have a different meaning for everybody else, because we all have different life experience, don't we? And can you recall a time in your life where things may not have been going so well, but there's been some kind of music that's dug you out of a hole, or the opposite, that sticks in your mind?
Oh yeah, many times. In fact, like I've had music just like so many times still now, whether it's like simple things like getting me through a task or something that's a bit hard, or like, getting me through like long drives, or even just, through harder periods, harder moments, harder life experiences in the past. It's always something that just gives me energy, gives me the strength to just push through whatever it is. And it's always been different artists, different music, but it's always been there. Absolutely.
It's amazing. Humans spend so much money on therapy, right? Everyone's always in therapy. I think they just should put a jukebox in a therapist's office. It'd be a lot cheaper, right? And just they
Or a guitar,
yeah,
or piano.
they give you a list and they say name your top 10 favorite bands. You put on the list, you go in, hit the jukebox, and just sit there and listen to them and see if that fixes everything. It's an amazing language, music, isn't it? It seems like, well, it's been around forever. And, you know, obviously it helps us get through so many goddamn things. And as an artist as well, not only listening to music, I'm sure it's got you out of holes playing music and got you into great places like where you're at now with the band.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is what I've always dreamt of doing since I was, 6 years old. So, I knew already at the time, I was like, I want to be in a band. I want to play music. I want to travel around and just, perform and be with my friends and just, live all sorts of crazy things.
I love that because there's this sense of, I don't know, I'm much older than you. I'm like 53 years old. I've been playing music since I was a kid, right? Seen a lot of things come and go, but there seems like there's a sense in older people that, music's finished. It's all done. You can't live out your dreams. But that's so refreshing to hear that, the dream's still there, right? People are still achieving these dreams. I think we forget that there's great successes happening all the time with artists. Just because you're not experiencing it doesn't mean other people are not, living out that dream.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it's hard.
Yes.
It's a lot of work. We're not, we don't have a lot of money, but
Yep.
we carry on. We carry on, and throughout our career so far, we've had many little miracles happening, and then we just that just allowed us to just push through, go to the next step, and we'll just never let go.
I think, even with social media these days, people tend to, they see the shine of a video clip and the song and all the packaging and promo work and forget that behind, the cameras and all that stuff, it's still a fucking grind, right? You got to eat each fucking day. You got to pay your bills. And it is a lot of hard work. I know doing this channel, like I've been doing this 5 years and sit there going, man, I worked my ass off. I still only got 6,000 subs. What? But it doesn't, you don't stop. It makes you work harder, right? Unless, But there is a lot of work that goes into it, and sometimes it gets tiring. Have you come against anything like that where you're like, man, I'm so beat, and how do you like push through to keep going?
Yeah, well, yeah, we've had that's basically our life the whole time. Just that's why the album is called Edge of the Abyss, because it's like that's how we live. That's how we've been living all this time. Just one wrong step and you could just fall apart, because everything is just on the edge constantly. So like a lot of the time we just don't know how we're going to be able to do things that we want to do next. But we find ways. We get a little bit of luck and trying to be attentive to that opportunities as well. But yeah, we just keep grinding, take it on, and then just don't wait for anybody to do it for us, really.
Yes, that is it. Keep grinding and just push hard. Like it's the same. I was talking to my friend before I started this show, and he was like, "Do you remember when you used to take a day off every week?" I was like, "No, actually, I don't." And it gets like that. You look back and you think, "Man, do I ever stop?" Like, and you've got to. You like this is the thing too. Like with anything, right? You've got to have. You got to have enough rest. You got to eat healthy. You got to be well to yourself, or then it all caves in because you're working so hard, and that's hard to do.
Yeah, that's one aspect to it for sure. Especially touring as musicians, you have to take care of your body because otherwise it'll just you'll just come and crush down. And so we go to the gym, we exercise, we're trying to eat well. When we're on tour, we don't drink anything, we don't smoke, so, it's a very, very, serious not serious, but it's very healthy environment. It has to be a very healthy environment.
Yeah.
At least what you can control, you have to like, just do the best you can to control, because there's so many variables and things you cannot control
Mm-hmm.
that will, be difficult to deal with every day. That what is in your power to control, you have to just make sure it's dialed in, and it's
Yeah.
going to help.
Yeah, the music industry is a roller coaster. Being in it, you don't know, as you said, you don't know who's going to come into your life, what this person's going to do. So many outside variables, and yeah, it's not like the old days where, like, you look at the Rolling Stones, and we all wonder how they're still alive. The amount of abuse and all that stuff. In fact, they're probably going to outlive cockroaches at this point, which is a good thing, right? Thank you to Camp Gmail, who's in our audience, who's sent a $5 super chat. You rock. And hello to everybody who's joining us. The way we do it here, we say, do a roll call after about the second song, so about 25, 30 minutes in. Just let everyone settle. I see you all there typing away, so thank you for being here. Now, you mentioned something about being young before, so we're going to go back in time to when you were a kid. And Alizon, do you remember the music that was played in your household as a child? And who are some of those artists, and have they influenced what you do now?
Yeah, very much. My dad was always like, none of my parents are musicians, but my dad was always listening to music constantly. So there's always music playing in the house. So it was a lot of classic rock. So, The Police, The Who, Queen. I remember he really liked Peter Frampton. So a lot of like Pink Floyd, all these influences. So like, classic rock. So that's kind of what I grew up with. On top of like French influences, so like more French variety and like singer-songwriter from like the 40s, 50s. Yeah, that's kind of what was playing in my house growing up.
I love that. And it's interesting how I've had many artists on here, and many artists don't have parents that play music. None of my parents play music either. My dad despises music. He hates it for some reason. I'm like, dude, how can you live in a world where you hate music? Like, I've never understood that. Oh, well.
Yeah, I was lucky that my parents, even though they didn't play anything, they wanted me to learn an instrument as a kid, just to have, that as a baggage in my education, even if it was just a hobby. But, it just became the central part of my life, really.
Yeah, wise stuff, because, having some form of creativity, they're obviously wise people, because, not having any form of creativity in your life can really lead to a fucking boring life, ultimately, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so important. You need to feed your soul as much as you need to feed your body.
Yeah.
And, through art, through, you consume the art, but then you can make it as well. Even if it's not your job, or even if it's not professionally. So many people play music or write or paint or do so many kind of different creative things. And that's just such a great way to like express yourself and just get things out.
Yes, indeed. Do you remember the first album that you purchased with your own pocket money, and maybe was given to you as a gift? Because I love that the gift one's a tough one, because most people they get their first gift. It's like, really, that's what you think I like? Do you remember both of those?
I think the first one I bought was probably The Wall by Pink Floyd.
Nice.
Because I saw the movie, and it left such a strong impression on me that I need more of this. I need to dig deeper,
Yeah.
So I got the album, and it's like my first purchase, and also the first album I really, listened back to back over and over and over in my room. Just, yeah.
What about given to you as a gift? Do you remember that?
That's harder.
Yeah.
Uh, However, I do remember my dad buying a AC/DC album when we were on holiday somewhere, and we stopped somewhere at like a supermarket or something before the trip, and they had all these CDs, and he just bought, I think it was Highway to Hell,
Oh, wow.
I mean the album with Highway to Hell, and we just played that the whole trip for like 4 hours, and it was great. And I think I just, it just that's yours. You keep it,
Nice. Bit of akadaka. Let's get to, so, where are we? Now, I don't ask this question all the time. What about your first gig? See, for me, my first gig wasn't a big, my first gig was Kiss, right? At a big cricket ground. I don't even remember it properly. I was like 5 years old. But the first gig I remember was just a local underage gig with a bunch of punk bands playing, and I fell over and cut my knee. So what about your first gig that you went to?
Well, the first gig, it's the same. My dad used to go to shows quite regularly, so he would take me as well to a few shows, and they were mostly French artists, so they're probably going to be unknown to a lot of, to majority of people. But this artist called Claire Diterzi, who's like an incredible singer, very theatrical show. And I remember being completely blown away at like, 7 or 8 years old, just being like, wow, this is insane. That I can be completely transported during like, whatever, 2 hours, just with like a few people performing on stage.
It's interesting you say that about being blown away, because I've read a lot of reports about your band blowing people away like that, leaving, just going, what the fuck did I just see there? Seeing acts like that, has that influenced the way you put together a show? Because I read this everywhere, and I swear to God, if you've got to come to Australia, please, because I don't think I'm going to get there. But has that had an influence in putting together your live shows?
I mean, I think it's a bit of both, because we work hard. At least we try to like present the best possible show. Obviously in terms of performance, but in terms of sound, like we work a lot on sound with our best friend Tom, who's our sound engineer. He's been with us for like a few years now and doing incredible work. So we each tour we do pre-prods, we work on the sound, we like trying to refine this, and obviously trying to work on stagecraft as well. Like trying to film the show and watch the shows and be like, what can we improve? So obviously, yeah, we listen to feedback, but also we've got so many ideas on how we can just keep pushing and improving the live shows. And lately I've been experimenting with like some light setups as well. So trying to have like a proper show as well on top of the performance, just to be able to offer something extra each time. Well,
I'm going to jump into our second song, and then we'll come back and say hello to everybody. Now, this is the song that caught my eye. I had not heard of you at all until 7 weeks ago, and this little ad, it wasn't even an ad, it was a post, and it said suggested post for me. And it was like, thank you to all of our fans, because our video clip Aimless has got 1 million views or something like that. I think that's what the post was on Facebook. And I was like, holy shit. All right, well, there's a lot of views. I'm clicking on it. And I sat there and watched it and went, what the fuck? And that was the title of the first song. And then went back and watched it again and was like, all right, we're closing the show with this. This is fucking off the wall. So we're going to play that now. This is Aimless from Calva Louise. Are you ready, folks? You better grab your ankles, because this one's going to knock you flying for 6. Let's do it. Let's. Like an Oj. Oh, yeah.
I don't
Wild stuff there. I swear to God, that video clip is absolute fire. Now, I have no idea how much this thing cost to make. From what I read, Jess, your vocalist, is and guitarist, is heavily into VHF effects and all this kind of stuff. Did you guys make this yourself? Oops, you muted. Sorry.
Yeah, so I was going to say, well, all the music videos are self-made. So everything is completely made in-house.
Wow.
So yeah, like basically everything you see for this album and even before, for the album before and before, it's just, you know, the three of us figuring it out basically. So the process is that Jess will write the script for a video, and then, you know, we'll sit down and go through the script together and figure out how to do everything, you know. So oh, we need to find this location, that location, you know, this kind of props, this kind of things, and then, you know, Ben and I kind of like trying to figure out location, props, and things, and we try to find. So our friends are also all the actors that you see in the videos. You'll be able to see, as you know, we watch more videos. There's a whole story going through everything. So there's, you know, recurring characters. So we're really, you know, lucky that we've got great friends that are happy to act and are also very good at it. So Jess will like write the script and then she'll direct the video. But you know, it's just us three with a little camera and lights, and you know, just yeah, it's funny. Like we've got some behind the scene footage, and it's just, you know, us three like in the middle of nowhere with like a little tripod, and just, you know, filming things. So we'll film that usually in like 1 day or 2 days. So Jess will direct, and then she take all the footage, and then she'll just create like magic basically. So she'll edit, she'll do all the VFX, everything, all the 3D as well. Like in some of the videos, there's like 3D environment, green screen. So she just does that, you know, on her own, and it's just she creates like crazy things. But you know, the budget is almost non-existent.
I love it
because it's just us, like, you know, us doing like everything, like around here as well, like around where we live with our friends, you know, filming everything ourselves. And then, you know, Jess is able to like take it and make it into this incredible looking production.
Yeah, look, I'm a massive believer in this DIY stuff. I've got a video clip from one of my bands, Meteors. It's probably one of the best clips I've ever made. It was all green screens. I bought a whole bunch of masks off eBay. Half the costumes in it, you know, it's all, everything's, it's so weird, right? Because you see that, and for the most people who wouldn't know, they'd look at that and think that's done in a professional studio. But you can do so many things on the cheap these days. And, you know, camera's all the sleight of the eye, really, isn't it? You know, it's all a trick.
Yeah, and so this video that we would just watch, Aimless, that's entirely done in it's where we practice. It's like a kind of like a very old living room, and that's where Ben lives. And his landlord very kindly allows us to practice in there. And he's also in a lot of the videos.
Right.
He's the older character because he is a professional actor, and yeah, he just, you know, really believes in what we do, and he helped us out by featuring in the videos and, you know, allowing us to practice. And so we used his front room basically to film that video. And then, you know, obviously there wasn't any fire or any kind of rain or anything. And it's funny because online I feel like people were like, wait a minute, like, how do you set a room on fire? How is that happening, you know? Wow. And
Jesus.
Obviously all that is done in post by Jess, but we've had a lot of like, I think there's always a few people being like, oh, like, you know, it's AI, and
Yeah.
It's not AI. It's really, really like a lot of hard work on the computer, like making it happen for her. So yeah, it's all brought to life.
I think AI is breaking a lot of people's brains out there. I think they're starting to, in the last couple of years, because of AI, they're just automatically going, I can't remember anything that came before it. All of the amazing special effects, all of the things that can be done on in Logic, in Final Cut Pro and all the Adobe tools. But all of a sudden it's like, now everything is AI. I think our brains are starting to get snapped because of this stuff. I'll ask your opinion on AI as we go further in. Let's talk about, firstly, too, let's say hello to people who've joined us today. Solcrum, I'm doing an interview. I can't really answer questions about how to do drum designer on your Logic, but feel free to leave a message on one of my videos. I'll be glad to help. Welcome to yourself. Welcome to Lewis. Thomas Christ, our great moderator, who's posting links today. Joe Glenn, hello to you. Hugh Caldwell, Jamie Lynn, Allegratilia, Barry Glenn. We got Mega Luisia Flores, hello to you. And I saw Pete Johns in the audience, Jenny Jolivet, Brad Examples here as well too. Denise Lance, hello to you. Tremor Bear, I see lots. Seven Dust, hello. I get through as many call outs as I can because I love all you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us today. All right, let's get back to it. So I'm interested, you mentioned earlier about education and learning an instrument in France where you grew up. Is music education a part of your school system there? So is it something that's heavily involved from like primary school into high school, and were you doing it in school and all that kind of stuff?
It exists, and it is, at least when I was there, when I was growing up.
Yep.
It was part of the education, not by much. I think we had 1 hour of music a week.
Oh, wow.
From like age, like 9 to 14 or something. So it was a thing, and then we learned to play the recorder, or like something like that, and yeah. So that exists, obviously, but I'm not really aware of what the current curriculum is in France. It probably changed throughout the years. I don't think music is like a mandatory thing anymore. I'm not sure it's like everywhere. It still exists as an optional thing in most schools, but you have to actually go and apply for it yourself.
Well, it seems like there's a trend with many governments around the world. Well, this is, not getting political. It doesn't matter which side of the fence you're on, of cutting the arts. Like that's always the thing that gets cut first. It's like, oh, what can we destroy? In my opinion, I think they do it because the arts is one of those things like we discussed at the start of the show. It's music is one of those things that keeps you pounding, keeps you living and getting through tough times. You take away creativity from people and they're disillusioned, right? And it's one of the things I feel with AI at the moment is people feel disillusioned. Now it's like everyone can just type in a prompt. It's like, yeah, but you're not making music. What the fuck? So, we had a strong music education system here. I don't know if it is anymore, but it always feels like whenever there's going to be cuts, cut the arts, right? Take away the arts from people. There you go. There's my little rant on the way arts are handled these days.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not really aware of what the current, curriculum is. I've been out of school for a while, but it should definitely be, some sort of art. I think is always really, really beneficial from a young age.
So did you started playing guitar first and then onto bass? What was your journey playing an instrument?
I chose to play the cello when I was 6.
Sick.
My parents took me to a bunch of classes. They were like, okay, you have to learn an instrument for a few years at least, but you can pick whichever one you want. So they took me to a bunch of different lessons at the local music school. And I was like, and then I went to the cello classes kind of last, and then I just fell in love with the instrument. So I was like, yeah, I want to play this. This is insane. I felt really like moved deeply by the sound of it. So yeah, that's how I started learning classically the cello for 10 years or so, and then I just taught myself the guitar when I was like 13.
It is a beautiful instrument. I hired somebody to come in and record on one of my albums once, and they brought a cello in and they played it with a saw. It was
A saw?
Yeah, they used not the cutting end, but they used a saw across the strings and was bending the saw as they ran it across the strings. It was so unique. It was like a whale crying. It was so weird. I've never heard anything quite like it. And they ended up only putting that on the album and no cello, because I fell in love with that sound. Hey, you go with what you feel at the time. So let's get into how you guys come about, because the three of you are from all over the world pretty much, but you and Jess apparently met in France. So how did that all happen with you two finding each other and communication barriers? I even read somewhere that there was some kind of communication through noises. Am I right there?
So, well, I'll start from the
Sure.
beginning. It's so it kind of starts with Jess. So she grew up in Venezuela.
Right.
Her dad is French. She was born in Paris, but grew up in Venezuela. And so she started writing music and playing music when she was very young. And when she was like 15, 16, she was like, okay, I want to move to, England, to pursue a music career. I'm kind of going a bit faster, but that's the gist of it. And then, her parents were like, all right, cool. We'll help you. So she moved to France because it was like, she was already speaking French because she was in a French school and her dad being French. So she had a friend who was in my school, and she was like, oh, look at that school. It looks like Hogwarts. It's like an old ancient building. And it was in Normandy, which is very close to England. It's like a ferry away. It's like 4 hours ferry. So she was like, this is great because, I can, finish my school there and then go to England to continue music. And so that's what she did. And she moved to Normandy, to this city I was in. And she ended up in my school, and that's how we met. And straight away, we became fast friends because we both had this same kind of, drive with the music, I think. I've been looking for people to form a band with for years at this point, and I could never find anyone that was really committed to it. For everybody, it was just like, it's just kind of a bit of fun, but nothing serious. And I was kind of the only one to be like, so, are we going to practice? Are we going to do this and that? What's going on? And so when I met Jess, it was like, all right, here's someone who's like dedicated and like driven. And I was like, this is amazing. So we started playing music together very quickly and formed the band when we were in 17. And yeah, started playing around for a few years. And then after school was finished, she obviously had this idea already to go to England to keep going, because that's sort of where our influences were from, growing up with the classic bands like I mentioned before, but like Pink Floyd, Queen, Black Sabbath, and more recent as well, like we're big fans of Muse, bands like that.
Yes.
Plus all the kind of indie Brit, scene at the time. So we started taking trips to London, back and forth, going there. Like I just got my license, I got my first car, a tiny car, and we would just like get in the car, go to London for a couple of weeks, stay in like the cheapest motels and the cheapest place, trying to, you know, trying to kind of figure out how the music industry works, how the music scene works. I didn't speak English at the time.
Holy
Jess spoke
shit.
English not
Wow.
as well. Yeah, so you know, it was kind of like it was a difficult period, obviously, because it was trying to learn a language, trying to discover a place. We were trying to find places to play. So we had like little CD burnt, and then we were stopping at like pubs, any kind of little venues we could find on the way. We would go and drop some CDs, and you know, trying to be like, are you booking shows? Like, how does it work? And then go to open mics, trying to just the two of us, guitar and bass, trying to play, and you know, be like, okay. Um, and yeah, eventually we got booked for a show by a guy called Omar at Oxton at the Underbelly, and we got put on a bill opening for a show, and Ben was playing with his old band at the time on the same bill, and that's how we met. So Ben grew up in New Zealand, and his dad English, so his family moved back to England when he was 14, 15. So he was already in London at the time, and yeah, we met on the scene. We can understand each other when we met. You know, it was just kind of like, hey, whatever. Jess, you know, had a proper conversation with him, but I didn't. And I think a couple of weeks after that, we got offered by a friend to record some demos in his bedroom, because he had like a bit of a setup going on in his bedroom and things. So we're like, yeah, great. But we didn't have a drummer. And so Jess was like, this guy was really nice and he was good, and you know, we should call him. So she called him, and he was like, I mean, yeah, I'll come and record some demos with you. And that's how we first started playing together.
Listen, hang on a minute. Everybody else is writing the same thing in the audience. How long have you spoken English for?
Well, it's gonna be 10 years now.
Fuck, you speak it better than myself and most people in the audience. That is so. How do you learn a language so quickly? Are you using like our futuristic tools that we have on our phones, things like Duolingo, anything like that?
Well, not even, because at the time, I don't even think I had do you have a smartphone? I had a really shit smartphone. Like,
Right.
it was really, you know, it wasn't like a fancy phone or anything. And no, what happened is that, so after taking trips like that for like maybe a year or so, we moved in good in London, and I had to find a job to start paying rent. You know, it's very expensive, obviously.
Adult stuff.
And I had this, yeah, and I had this job where I was going around London fitting furniture into people's place. And so I had to drive around and go and just build whatever kitchen, bedroom, wardrobes, anything that people needed. And it was a company, it was self-employed, but it was a company that was like sending me jobs. And so I had to call all the customers to make appointments and to talk about the job and what they needed. And that was so scary for me, because I still didn't speak English at the time. So I used to write scripts in advance to prepare for those calls, and you know, write dates and days and things, and then I would call and be like super stressed. And in London, obviously, it's very, very diverse, and you get all sorts of nationalities and accents. So sometimes it was so difficult to understand. I had Scottish people, and I was like, what? I don't understand what's going on. Like, and I had them repeat 3 times, 4 times, and I was melting on the other side. But, you know, after like 2 or 3 months of this, I got to a point where I could have a conversation and it wasn't so hard anymore. Yeah, and that's just how it happened. And then I, you know, eventually got better at it, and tried to, you know, expand my vocabulary more and more. And yeah, but like that first, you know, 3-month period, that was the real struggle there.
Yeah, look, obviously you're a very fast learner, because and you have to be, don't you? Like when you put in
I
situations
think
for your life, right?
I think anybody put, in that situation, it's like the need creates the skill in a way. Like you develop fast because you have to. It's almost like survival.
Yeah. So you come together. Ben comes into the band. Obviously, this changes everything, and you're offered to record a demo. How's the process of that? The first time, like all together and recording. Did that come out to your hopes? And obviously, like you're still going, so obviously it's led to the future of what you are now. And how was that process of recording your first demo for the going in and doing all of that home studio? What you said, I think.
Yeah, it was in the friend's bedroom.
Yeah.
It was great. I think we're all like really happy, and we're like, that works. Like we can make this work. And obviously at the time the band didn't exist yet, and we kept going for like probably a year or so, or maybe a bit less. Like just playing together until we're like, okay, like let's create a new band. That's the start of the project. But yeah, it felt great, and it was the funny thing is that when we started practicing together, because we spend a lot of time in practice, so we were trying to practice like every day as much as possible, and it was kind of funny because none of us had the same mother tongue, so Spanish, English, and French, and so communication was definitely funny. Uh, and at times, and that's where you mentioned the noises, but like at times it had to be like you're trying to explain what you're talking about, and then you'd be like, and you'd be like trying to make noise and explain, musically, how you what you think, what you're talking about, what you're thinking about, and that was pretty funny, and that's actually where the name comes from too.
It's interesting, right? Even without a language barrier, though, those noises are a thing. We had a
True,
band.
yeah.
We had a band for a period of time, and we had this sound engineer he was our live engineer, and we brought him into the studio to record an album, which it was a dumb move because they're two different kind of sound people. They shouldn't come together, right? And he was our live engineer was trying to explain to the studio engineer that he wanted the drums to sound like a funnel, and he was going like wow wow, and we're just going, what the fuck is he talking about? But from that, right, it's a common thing, you say, hey, no, I want the guitars to go like dun 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 dun, and this is the weird language that us musicians speak, right?
Yeah, it absolutely. It still, it still happens, and we kind of the funny thing is like we kind of develop our own way of communicating within the band too. Because for example, Jess and I, we speak French to each other, but it's not like it's not a bit of a broken French
Right,
with
right.
like words that don't really exist in French, but we understand, and we're like, so it's the same thing like when we shoot a video and things, and we've got like one day to shoot like so much stuff, and Jess will turn around and be like, can we just like, and then I'll be like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. That's it.
Well, that's it. Look, a good band is being able to be. You're in a marriage with however many people, right? And except,
Yeah, absolutely.
so you've got to be able to understand those intricacies, or you end up like being in a band like Faith No More, who I interviewed on here, and man, they were at each other for years, just even on stage, right? They'd be playing gigs, and Mike Patton would say something about the guitarist Jim Martin, be like, "What a wanker!" And it's like, you're on stage, guys. What is wrong with you? You're so angry. You have to have those kind of things as well. But have you picked up Cockney patois as a,
Wow.
do we what knocking on the head? Here, didn't you kill my brother?
I understand it. I'm not, yeah. Apparently, I'm kind of like, because now we live up north, we're not in London anymore. So apparently, I've kind of more moved on towards the northern
Yeah.
side of the language.
Absolutely. Let's play another song and then we'll come back and we'll find out the lore behind Calva Louise. This is called Low Q Vale. I'm probably saying that wrong, yeah? How would you? Locavale. Okay. So let's play this. Are you ready, guys? In the audience, grab your ankles once again because this is going to knock your heads off. Let's rock.
Ya no estoy a la espera, ya no estoy a la entrega de mi felicidad plena. La libertad, eso vale la pena. A mis deseos pendientes, los abrazos si son obedientes. cumplir más promesas que me anclan como presa. Ya podemos salir de la niebla, impulsada a ser libre. Eso es lo que vale la pena.
Hello and welcome back. Wow. We're at our halfway point, folks, so I got to let you know today's show is sponsored by our good friends at DistroKid, and I'm going to let me from way back, tell you all about the coolness of DistroKid. So take it away. This presentation is proudly sponsored by DistroKid. Introducing DistroKid, your ultimate music distribution solution. For just $29.99 a year, DistroKid empowers you to release unlimited tracks on all major music platforms worldwide, including Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, and so many more. Plus, use my link distrokid.com/VIP/Jade Starr and get 7% off your first year. You'll also keep 100% of your royalties and gain access to valuable tools like instant verification on Spotify and detailed revenue analytics. Don't let your music go unheard. Join DistroKid today and take your music career to the next level. Thank you, DistroKid, for sponsoring today's presentation. Yes, of course. Thank you so much, DistroKid. And you know what I'm going to say, DistroKid. You've been with sponsoring this show for quite a few years. I can't do it without you. Thank you so much. And of course, I love you, DistroKid. All right. I'm amazed they still stay with me every time I do that. It's the most uncomfortable, weird thing. But I love it. Welcome back. That song was absolutely, again, sick and just looks so pro, right? So pro. The video clip and all that stuff. Just love it. You know what's interesting? During that clip too, I got a message from YouTube going, YouTube has just discovered you're playing somebody else's music on your stream.
Oh dear.
No, that's why I do these. I get 2 DistroKid sponsorships a month, right? So I try and pick artists that I know I'm going to get copyright claims from. And then that's cool. So you get the money, right? And then I get, it all works out. But I hate it when they come in and say, well, we're going to like block the stream or something. Hopefully they're not going to do that. But you never know with YouTube. It's a strange platform. So getting to the meaning of Calva Louise, because there's a whole backstory and lore, and I'm sure we don't have time to go through all of it. And I do believe on your Discord, there's a whole section which covers the whole lore. But can you just give us a quick breakdown of the meaning behind it all?
Yeah, so it's a lot. So there's a entire story and universe that's happening behind all the releases of the band. So all the songs, they basically tell a bit of a story from that same, universe. And so in this universe, there are several worlds that are like parallel to each other, and there are the real world, similar to ours, and then there is the fractal world, or fractal world and dream world, which different entities have it, there's different worlds, and each of us have a double. So it's like, a twin entity in another world that we're all aiming to meet. And most people are not aware of it, but then once you become aware of your double, you start looking for it, and you become a traveler, traveling the world and the time, and going through all these different crazy places and adventure, trying to find and reunite with your double. And the double have an existence of their own as well. So that's kind of like the concept. But within that world, we focus on different characters who all have their own story. The main character is Louise, for obvious reasons. So that's the main character, but around her, there are many characters that we can see in the video. So not in these last 2, but in the next videos, then you'll be able to see more characters that are all part of the story. And they're all played by some of our friends. Yeah.
Look, I love this because, you can... So many bands just have the story. Like we've talked about your story of how you've all come together and how you've all met and your challenges and all that stuff. But to really take it deeper and have a whole lore behind the whole thing, that's something special. I think it gives people a lot to sink their teeth into and get more out of the music. Because I think that's what you want these days with music, yeah? The music sometimes just isn't enough anymore. You want to envelop people into your world, take them on a journey. So... Is it hard to put all this together and keep it all so there's no butterfly effects going on in your multi-universe?
So what's funny is that the story existed before the band. Like right. Jess has been working on the story since she was, a kid in Venezuela. And she started drawing, she started writing, she started, doing like all this like content and all this, the story, the characters. And so the song kind of like came on top of that. So in a way, it's the story's always been there, and the music, it kind of happened afterwards to convey that story, and then videos, and then everything else. She also made a comic book that I don't think I have it here, but that was released with the first album. It became the lyric book for the first album, but it's also like a good representation of like what the story's about.
Yeah, I had to go digging for it to try and find some images of it. And I found some because I read about it, was like, really? Man, that's so cool. Like, I love shit like that because, I mean, a thing, growing up, albums, vinyl was a thing. You know, my whole record collection as a kid was based on a lot of albums just going to the store and going, well, that cover looks good, and taking it home, and a lot of the time it sucked. But sometimes you'd find really cool stuff. And, you know, it was all about the experience of opening up the album and reading everything and being immersed in the whole thing. I can't tell you how many albums as a kid I read the back of that many times, and there really wasn't that much to read on it. But that's so this kind of stuff I think is you know, it gives people so much more to take in, but yeah, it's really well done. So Jess she seems like a very, I'm not going to say complex, but very artistic, and got her hands in a lot of different creative things. Do you two guys find it hard to keep up with all of her creativity, or are you just all in amongst it and sucked into it and contributing as well?
Yeah, I mean it's great because you never know what's going to be next, you know. So Jess writes the music as well, and I've never heard a demo she showed us that I didn't like, you know. It's always new. It's never something that we've heard before, and you know, it's the same with videos, with the script, with the story. You know, it's amazing to have someone like that to work with, because then, you know, I just kind of like find ways to contribute to like flesh out the idea, to flesh out the concept, and you know, but it's a joy. It's a joy to like to have this material, you know, be constantly presented and constantly happening, and to be able to just you know, bring a little bit to it to make it bigger.
It's interesting, before you mentioned about Muse, right? Because there are moments in my life where you know, I'm sure you would have these moments. Most people who just listen to music have them. When you discover a band and they just consume you for the next like few months. Like Faith No More was one of those for me. Mr. Bungle, Muse was one of those. Man, I heard Muse the first time, was like, who the fuck are? And I got into them like by the second album, so I had stuff to catch up on. And when I found you guys, not only you guys, but another band too called Black Shape that I've become obsessed with lately. You guys remind me of Muse, such a small band that creates such a massive fucking sound. Like it blows my mind. I couldn't believe you were a three-piece when I heard your sound. I was like, what? How? And it blows my mind. So and just going back, like talking about your first album, this is it here, called Rhinoceros. Your sound wasn't always as heavy as what it is today, was it?
That's right. So a bit of the story about this album is that, so like I was saying before, you know, we just started the band, still trying to survive, trying to understand, still learning English at this point. And so we received an offer from a record label to record an album. And the thing is that it kind of had to be a specific genre, like, you know, indie, punk, Brit, you know, kind of vibe. And that's what it had to be. And it was like, for us, it was like, well, you know, it's either that or keep the day job and, you know, don't progress. And we, you know, there's no bad genre of music. Like we like indie, we like punk, we like, you know, so we were like, let's just do it. Let's just take the opportunity and move on and see what's next. So the making of this album was like definitely a challenge, because we had, I think, 10 days in a studio, and we had to do everything start to finish. The producer like didn't want us to use a click at first, like didn't want any, it didn't like people didn't want just to scream.
What?
It was like, and then we didn't have anything to say for the mixing. It was kind of like, give it to the mixing engineer and just don't, it's like, so,
Wow.
this album, sounds a bit different because also the way it was made, but it was for us, it was the first step, and we're not, we still stand by the album. It was the best we could do at the time. And then after it, when we started becoming, like, we had a couple of independent release, and then we had another album, and then as we became more, I don't know, a bit more solid in like our life, because this album was made when we were still like couch surfing and like, just like surviving. That's the thing. And when we became a little bit more okay, like, like now we kind of manage life a bit better. So we were able to like just be a bit more independent and like grow into the sound more and more. And Edge of the Abyss, which is the latest album, we feel like that's the closest to what we've been trying to achieve all this time.
I think it's part of the reason why the home recording industry has kicked off so much. Because I remember my first time going into the studio and paying money to spend 10 days in the studio, and it wasn't cheap, right? It's like $8,000, and every minute counts, and you're working with somebody who you don't really know. And I remember the same experiences of like having an engineer going, no, you do it this way. And I'm like, but that's not our fucking music, mate. Like that's not us, right? And you learn these things. And I think like anything, you got to go through these experiences, and then the next time you go in there, you're more confident to say, hey, no, this is what we are, this is what we want. And you start to understand the whole business behind recording. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is that we've not been back to a studio since then.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, we've just been recording everything ourselves, really.
Yeah.
We did record some bits in like a small kind of little studio for the songs that came after this album, but then since then it's all been made in-house. Like we record here. Jess will write and record at the same time on her computer, like, guitar, vocals, piano, and then she'll record everything in her room. I'll take the session once she's fleshed out the song, and then I'll like record some bass, a few versions, and then pick the right one. And then Ben will do the same. He'll go through the drums, make sure that everything is like drummable, and then maybe add a few ideas if he's got any, and then we'll work with, so for Edge of the Abyss, we worked with a friend who's in Italy called Mazar. So he's a producer and artist that, we worked for Over the Threshold as well. So he'll do like additional production and mixing. And then for Edge of the Abyss, we had the chance to work with Gareth McQuillan from Pendulum, Australian man.
Yeah, nice.
And so, yeah, he reached out through social media because I think he saw us on TikTok a few times, and then he was like, I got to check this out. So he reached out on Instagram, and then, he was like, hey, love to meet up. And we were like, what? That's crazy. And then it almost it almost didn't happen, because every time we're in London, he was away on tour. And then the one time we're in London, we were like, hey, Gareth, coming to London, if you're around. And then we were finished with our day, and we were leaving back home, which is like 5-6 hours drive. And as we were leaving London around 6-7 p.m., we just got to the motorway, and he texted back. It was like, are you still around? And we were like, yes, we are. turn the car around, go back, and yeah, and then we met up for a meal. Invited us to go to Metropolis Studio, check out the studio, meet a couple people, and it was amazing. It was fantastic, and he became, you know, a bit of a mentor, really. So he decided to be involved in the album. So he did extra bit of production on it as well, and extra mixing. He co-wrote 2 songs with Jess on it, and yeah, just general, like, I don't know, general mentor and like huge help with everything, you know, just like helping out with like, oh, you know, how to get the best possible sound out of our gear at home, or helping out with the live setup. We're having some issues on stage, and I was like, can I give you a quick call? And I was like, yeah, like, you know, just like, and then I remember calling him before a festival to kind of like fix a couple things, and he was like, all right, cool, you got it, great. I'm about to go on stage. I'll talk to you soon. And he just walked on stage. I was just like, and you know, he would take the time to help us out. So we were like incredibly grateful to him for that. Yeah, so that was kind of the process for this album.
It shows so much the growth across the albums, right? You can hear it. Like, and look, I'm blown away. I'm not blown away. I lie, because on this channel, like, it's all about home recording, and you know, I record music on a fucking iPad. And people, I remember like 5 years ago when I was living in America, longer than that, so about 2017, I was living in America, and I'd meet all these people in Minneapolis, and I'd always get introduced to people like, this is Jade, she makes music on an iPad, and people would look at me like, really? Like what? Like I was some subhuman, and it's like, listen, man, the iPad has as much power as the latest Macs, right? It's just a piece of glass, so it doesn't matter what you record on. It's like the skills that you learn and what you put into it. Let's play another track, and this is called Impeccable. So we'll let the song speak for itself, and we'll be back momentarily. Let's do it. This is Calva Louise and Impeccable.
Walking on the edge of the abyss between death and life. You may go to the right or to the left, as long as you don't fall down.
Well, fuck me drunk sideways. That was absolutely sick. And the end there, when all the ground is just exploding at the end there. I love it. I love just, it still blows my mind. Absolutely DIY, made all by the band themselves. Killer track as well. Look, it's just, yeah, look, I'm going to admit it. I'm a massive grindcore head, but I listen to a lot of funk and jazz and all that kind of stuff. And since I've been doing Unearthed and looking for artists, I have noticed this massive upswing in female vocalists that are growling. And I've got to say this, it is fucking hot. I love it so much. This new breed, because look, when nu metal came out, I'm old school. When nu metal came out, I was like, you know what? I just can't get into these thoughtful, caring moments where the guy sings all passionately, and then I just couldn't get into it. But when a female does it, it's just like, man, there's something about a female screaming that just blows my mind. I love it so much, and there's so many great artists that are doing it. So, more growls, ladies. I love it so much. What a great clip. Now, I want to get into this because, like, you release your first album, you start touring, and then the pandemic hit. The pandemic affected us all in so many different ways, and I normally have a question about the pandemic, or what I call the inconvenience, because it affected us in different ways. Like, people lost their lives, but a lot of musicians and creative people actually thrived and felt like there was this reset and ability, even though you couldn't tour anymore, right? So I'm interested in your perspective, because you just got the ball rolling, then all of a sudden, the rug is pulled out from under you for a bit there?
Yeah, it was an interesting time. Obviously, it was, terrible for so many people. We were lucky enough that it kind of happened at a time where we were preparing our next album, the second album.
Right.
So we got a record deal just before the pandemic. And so, for us, it was like a time of like, all right, well, let's record everything at home. That's how we really started doing things in-house more, just because we had to. But it kind of allowed us to take the time to learn, to be doing it ourselves. So we took the time to record this second album, and also that's when Jess started learning VFX. So just before the pandemic, we tried to work with like a VFX artist, because we already had all these ideas, and it didn't really work out. Like somebody financed like the video, and it just didn't really work out how we wanted it to. And so, just was like, you know what, I'm going to learn to do it myself. Like, we can't be touring anyway, can't get out of the house. So, we figured out how to like build her a computer, like a PC, and then she started learning Blender and then Unreal Engine and After Effects and all that. And so that, for us, we were lucky that whole period was more a time of, we had the opportunity to like prepare, record, and learn new skills.
Well, it obviously paid off because, look, I was the same here too. Like the pandemic hit, and I was like, what am I going to do? And I started this thing, right? Got this channel off the ground, and it hasn't stopped because for me, it felt like a reset. It felt like time to take a breath, even though the world was still spinning. And amazingly, animals were outside again. It was like it was such a weird time, but here we are. And I didn't expect to say this, but right now times are actually weirder, in my opinion, than the pandemic, because shit's kind of upside down. The whole world's very strange at the moment. That's a whole nother story. So you now have got multiple albums out. What is it? The newest one's your fourth album?
Yeah, so yeah, like there's three, like the one before that we call it a mixtape, Over the Threshold, because it was very DIY process, 'cause that's an independent release, and the way it was made, it was very much okay, we'll record a song, you know, figure out everything, record it, and then start working on the song with Nazar, our friend, and go back and forth until, you know, everyone's happy with the song. And then we'll just do a video for it, and then we'll release that, and then we'll start working on the next song. And then, you know, after a year, there was like an album worth of song, but it wasn't made as an album, you know, technically. So we just kind of put all the songs together, called it a mixtape, and that's what it is. But it is Edge of the Abyss is like the fourth kind of album length release.
And now, like, so you've been touring since then. You've headlined tours. You've played festivals. What's been a standout, like taking all these stages and touring? What's something that stands out for you as an achievement, especially playing live?
Well, we've done many great tours and shows in the past couple of years that we're really happy about. First one that comes to mind is we got to support Bloodywood across Europe.
Sick.
Yeah, in March last year. So that was awesome, because they're incredible. They're an incredible band, but they're also incredible people. So nice and so, you know, thoughtful and great at what they do. And, you know, it's funny because they were like, guys, like, you know, last time we came to Europe, we were playing like 300 cap rooms with no crew. And like this tour, they were selling out 2.5 thousand people, you know, across Europe. And, you know, but they were still treating it like with all the care that, you know, they have for it, like, you know, just like trying to get it better and like, you know, working on the lights. Even midway through the tour, you'd be like, all right, there's things we can improve on the show. And that was just fascinating to watch as well. So really happy to have been, you know, to have had the chance to do this. We've done our first headline tour in the US in September 2025. So that was amazing because it was very we were very nervous about it, obviously.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Being like, you know, let's go see what we can do, and people showed up every time, every night.
Sick.
You know, like we were just bracing ourselves for like, hey, well, you know, happens what happens, we're still gonna have a good time. But the audience was there, everybody, you know, like every night was a great show because of everybody that showed up. So and we just had a fantastic time overall. It was just like 5 of us in like Chevy Express for like 6 weeks driving around the States, but that was such a good time. And thanks to like, you know, sound engineer Tom, our great friend Jeff, who was driving us and doing merch, we just had the best time. So that was definitely the highlight for me, at least.
It's definitely a unique experience going to the US and playing. I did it. I wasn't on a huge tour when I was there. I was actually there for health reasons, but I teamed up with a band while I was there and started opening for them and got to go on the road. And it's so weird being on the road in the US because I don't know. I know about you, but you see the US as a kid on TV and you see all the TV shows and things. And then you get there the first time and go, holy shit, like everything's so big. Like even the footpaths are so wide and the drinks are like all this big. And I asked for a small one and just, it's so wild. You go on a road trip. It's just driving into these towns, going to Chicago and stuff like that. First time I went to Chicago, I was like, holy fuck, this is sick. I just was pinching myself the whole time I was there. So was that the same kind of feeling for you?
It is. It's. I think for us, it's probably the landscapes are the most incredible things.
Yeah.
We decided to, so once we finished the tour, because we started in LA and we picked up the van in LA, and so we had the choice of either returning it to Chicago, where we finished the tour but pay more because it was a different city, or drive it back to LA from Chicago at the end of the tour for the same, price really, because it would be cheaper to return it to the same place, but you'd pay hotel and petrol. So we were like, let's just have a road trip at the end of the tour, because when you're on tour, you never get to enjoy where you are, at least not much, because you just spend your day in the car, in the van, and then you just load in, play the show, sleep, repeat every day. So it was the first time that we had this sort of extra laid back time after the tour where we just drove through Utah and Colorado and Arizona, like so many great, amazing places, and that was fantastic. And just overall, like, we really love playing in the US. There's loads of reasons to it, but we really love the audience there, and I think some of it is also due to the huge Spanish speaking community.
Sure.
Because obviously a lot of the songs are in Spanish, and we do feel like over there, like, people really connect to it. There's really, like, every night there was like a huge part of the audience that were like, yeah, like, let's go, like, Spanish songs, and that's such an important part of the band that it's great to be playing, in parts of the world where, people, like, really enjoy that in particular.
Who would have thought that Spanish is a highly spoken language? Hey, who knows? Maybe you'll get to play at the Super Bowl next year with all the drama around that this year. So weird, man. Like, look, I found the people in America to be absolutely awesome. It's so weird with the polarization of politics and stuff in the world at the moment. The whole world's looking at America and there's, such negativity and stuff. But when I was living there, I found it to be just the people, absolutely beautiful people, and I miss them so much. You're right. It is.
Yeah,
the people.
That's our experience as well. Absolutely. Like, to us, they've been the most, passionate crowd.
Yeah.
During the show, after the show, meeting everyone that came to the show, it was like, bursts of energy. It was really nice.
That's awesome. Let's play another song. We've not got too long to go, and then we'll let you go. So I thank you for spending so much time with me today and doing this. This is Tunnel Vision. We're going to play it for you guys here. Let's do it. This song is sick as well. Are you ready to Oge, baby? Let's Oge. Yeah.
This is something of a dick move. I don't really want to do this anymore. Honestly, I'm kind of freaked out.
You can't back out now.
Well, Johnny's fucking gone. We don't even know if he's still alive, do we? There's been no connection made whatsoever, and you still haven't fixed this shitty fucking thing.
I told you I'm working on it. Fucking told you.
he fixed it.
I just don't understand why he shouted at us like that. It was almost like I wasn't supposed to fix it so quickly.
Yeah, because you're a fucking genius. He's just a bitter old man. He's probably
Do
jealous.
you think we're missing something?
When I see my double, loads of people.
I love that every clip has like credits at the end like it is a fucking movie. It's so damn cool. And I really should be playing because everybody involved deserves credit. So just amazing work, amazing work. Listen, I'm not going to lie. I'm so inspired by this interview today to find out that all this is absolutely done by you guys, and then just hearing the story of the doing it hard, coming together in France, moving to the UK, language barriers, riding through the tough times, driving around, dropping CDs off at places to try and get gigs. It brings back such nostalgia and reminds me that the music industry still is thriving and there still is hope, right? If you're a musician out there at the moment, you've seen all this AI shit that's happening, all this slop, don't get disheartened. Hopefully you are encouraged too. I want to get your opinion on AI stuff if you want to, right? Because a lot of people don't want to. I tried, when it first started, I've done lots of shows on generative music, generative art, when it was all at the forefront like 4 years ago, and was trying to show it to people, and have done shows where I've used Suno to try and work with my music and put my own music in. And every time I come out of it, it just feels like I'm playing a slot machine and I'm just taking my stuff, putting it in, buying credits and putting the credits in. And I don't know what the fuck I'm going to get back. Do you think this is the end of music? Is this a threat? And what do you think of the people who make it and are passing themselves off as musicians?
It's a bit complex. Like, what I can say is that we don't use it. We don't want to use it. There's something about the art in general. Like, personally, I feel like one of the reasons that it's moving is that that it's another human experience on the other end, and I feel like that's a huge part of receiving art.
Yeah,
it's knowing that it's all a human experience, and it's all you're talking human to human. I think AI, I mean, it can be useful for tools or repetitive work, things that are not really creative. I think can be really useful. I know that new AI tools come out all the time to to sort of streamline certain process that can be a bit tedious otherwise, and like that's cool, but I don't think that in essence it cannot make anything new, can it? So
No.
you still need a human to put the soul into it, to put the creativity into it. And yeah,
I mean, it's
we'll yeah.
it's based off top 40 music, right? And so it's getting harder, right? But to do a show where I'm trying to unearth bands, and I know there's a whole group in this little community we have across some other channels who play other people's music. In our little community, there's Thomas Christ, who's in the chat. He has a show called You Rock where he plays independent music from our community each week. And it's getting harder to spot it, right? Because it's not harder to spot it. I can hear it straight away. I know it, right? Because the voices are the same thing. It is trained off a certain kind of style of music. And but my thing of it is just the insincerity of it, of like hiding it and going, no, I'm not AI. And the people who like take it to the grave, they're like, no, I swear I'm not. And it's like, listen, you are. It's okay, right? It's just, I'm not going to play you on the show, right? Because there are so many artists who work really hard, and that's it. But hey, if it brings pleasure to people to make it, I do read stories where people are like, hey, this has been a place for me to get out my feelings and all that kind of stuff. I get that, 100%. Just be upfront. That's my deal with it, I think, above anything else. I think we're safe with bands like you. So we're good. Now, the new album, the fourth album, Edge of the Abyss, it's out now. It's on all streaming services, so it's on all your places that you need to go. It's also over here at Bandcamp. And if you want to go and support Calva Louise, please go and purchase their music, because that's always the best way to get to artists, by actually purchasing their music, right? It gives them direct money to them and helps them continue to make great video clips and tour and eat, the thing we all need to do.
Yeah, the merch and the music.
Merch.
So through our store page and Bandcamp and all that, that's definitely the best way to support. Thank you for sharing it.
Absolutely. And all the links are in the description below. So there's that. So make sure you go and do all that stuff, and, hit up their tracks. Tell them I sent you, and, all that kind of stuff. What are we up to here? So I've got a couple more questions. Let's talk about, so you've got an upcoming tour. I think that's in April. Where's that? How's it going? How's it all going to happen, and where is it across?
Right. So yes, we do have a headline tour coming up in the UK in April. So that'll be 10 shows across the UK. We've also announced some festivals in Europe for this summer, and we will announce more shows in Europe as well for the rest of the year. It's not announced yet, but we've had so many requests to come play in Spain and a lot of other places. So we're going to make it happen very soon. We should be, fingers crossed, back overseas, at some point as well. So there will be more announcement to be made, in the upcoming 1-2 months. So we'll be touring more this year. But yeah, for now, UK headline, that's the latest tour. But there'll be more.
That's very exciting. A headlining tour across the UK. Do you get to pick the support for your tour?
Yeah, we do. So it's oftentimes we'll get sort of a list of a list of proposal for support from agent or managers, people that have expressed interest, or that are kind of like that are our team things, like maybe they're a good fit. So we'll go through the list, and then what we've done for this tour is that we didn't announce any support, like we didn't book any support before announcing it, and then we were like asking people basically. So we posted about it on Monday, and then we're like, who do you think should support? And then we've received overwhelming amount of suggestion, obviously.
Of course.
So yeah, now it's about, you know, finding a band or finding an artist, and then getting in touch, and then see if it works. It can work out. But yeah, we do get to pick support most amount of time.
I am very excited for you. I think your band is absolutely incredible. I'm a massive fan. I can't wait to see what comes in the future. I'd love for you to come to Australia. I know that's a really long way away, and that would be sick.
Well, we'd really want to, absolutely, because so what's funny is that Ben is currently in New Zealand,
Right.
Visiting family. So we were trying to, because he's not been in like over 10 years, 15 years. And so we were trying to find maybe shows around that, so, you know, we could all go. And it didn't happen this time, but we're definitely going to keep trying to come to Australia and New Zealand, because we've never been, but you know, I feel like there are at least a few people that would like to see us there. So, and we'd like to go, because we want to go everywhere. So it will happen.
And you got to come to Australia and cuddle a koala and catch chlamydia. It's an unknown fact about. Yeah, I'm just giving you the heads up. Koalas have chlamydia for the most part. Probably don't get too close to them. No, we would love to have you here. I know I'd be right up the front. I would be there seeing you play live. So the last question I normally ask everybody who comes on the show, it's not a hard question. It's open to interpretation. If someone was considering becoming creative, making music, film, whatever it is, when would be the best time for them to start?
Now.
Perfect. I've asked that question at the end of every show, right? Because I like driving at home, man, you know? Pick up, do that thing. Why wait? There's no time like right now. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing your story about this whole band, your personal story and struggles and triumphs with the band. I wish you all the success. Again, all the links are in the description. Everybody go and get into this band. They are moving, and they're just going to continue to get more and more popular. We're going to go out with a track today. We're going to go out with El Umbral.
Yeah, El Umbral.
Australian. One day I'll get these things right. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Anything you want to say before we wrap this thing up?
Well, thank you as well. It was a pleasure. And thank you for everybody who watched the show. And if you're interested, we do like to plug the Discord, because we're trying to be very active on it. There is a ton of information about the lore and the story. So, you can talk to us, ask questions, and, get involved. So we like to plug that. And thank you.
I will make sure I update the description with the Discord. I didn't have it there, so after the show I'll put that there. So make sure you go and join. That is the best way to get through to musicians these days. Folks, I want to remind you of a couple of things before I get out of here. Tomorrow we are looking at a brand new app that dropped this week by Audio Kit Pro called Super J8 Synth. It's sick. It's like $8. It's ridiculously cheap, and it is so cool for iOS, iPad, and all that jazz. That's happening here tomorrow. Unearthed, of course, is happening premiere tomorrow, sponsored by Nembrini and their fantastic guitar amp sims and all that kind of jazz. So that's happening. Trust me, the music on this week's Unearthed is, again, next level. Trust me, there is some sick artists I've found this week. And also we've got my performance, as I do each weekend on the channel. I do an opening hour. I'm doing some electric guitar songs this week, covers and originals, just for shits and giggles, right? If you want to come and join me for that. And I think this week's how-to show is going to be about how to distortion, how to chug. That's our weekly show called How To. Alrighty, let's get out of here. Thank you all in the live chat for being here. If you're watching on the replay, hello to you too. Do the like, subscribe, all the things that make the YouTube gods very, very happy. And it makes me happy as well too. Thank you to DistroKid for sponsoring the show. I'll let you introduce the song because I'll fuck it up again.
This is El Umbral.
Let's Oj, baby.
Tengo un problema, ya no soporto mi indignación. Todo me quiebra, siempre me quejo de mi situación. Me